The honourable member for Courtenay-Alberni.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for being here so late tonight. I know it's close to midnight, and I want to thank you, Madam Speaker, for the work that you're doing tonight by staying so late and seeing over the House of Commons. The reason I'm here, Madam Speaker, and it's in relation to a question I had regarding the homelessness tragedy that's taking place across Canada, but in particular, my question was related to what's happening in Port-Alberni, in my riding, and on the streets of Port-Alberni, where we're losing lives and people are losing hope, Madam Speaker. We have an overrepresentation of Indigenous people living on the streets, and that's what I wanted to speak to tonight. Over 2/3 of the people living on the streets of Port-Alberni are Indigenous, and the Liberal government's promise to, allocate and build 3,000 beds to deal with the homelessness crisis across Canada is not nearly enough. People are living without shelter. They're living in makeshift tents. They're living in public parks, trying to cope with COVID-19 and the pandemic that we're in. There's an opioid crisis that's taking place and the public health emergency here in British Columbia. The mental health implications are dire for this population. Their spirits are often simply broken. They're suffering, many of them, from systemic racism from public institutions, and are often struggling to overcome multi-generational trauma caused by colonial policies that, like in Indian residential schools, that have had a huge impact, and they're desperate, Madam Speaker. Too many are turning sadly to suicide, to violence against others, or to substance misuse. And Madam Speaker, it's shameful that these conditions persist in urban communities across our country, whether it's in small rural communities or in large cities. And this isn't the Canada that we want it to be. We must address these very serious and very important issues, and it shouldn't be the future of our children. The 3,000 beds I cited earlier that the Liberal government has committed to deal with the hard to house, those that are the lowest barriers that need assistance and support services. We need these investments critically in our community, and we need this massive investment along with reforms for federal drug policies, which create stigma and a fear of ending up in the criminal justice system rather than the health and social support system where care and help can be provided. We're looking at proposals to help deal with these issues, but in the meantime, lives are being lost to the COVID-19 epidemic, to the opioid public health emergency, to death by suicide, to violence against women and girls, and to an endless cycle of urban Indigenous poverty that has to be broken, Madam Speaker. We're calling on the government to take action, and we ask ourselves, where do we start? No question in my mind, implementing the calls to justice for the inquiry of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, implementing the calls of action of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, creating and resourcing an Indigenous-led housing program, and creating and resourcing an Indigenous-led board to investigate violence against Indigenous people by the criminal justice system, and ensuring shared decision-making related to policies affecting the rights of Indigenous people in their communities. And as I stated in my writing, I've been working and supporting and advocating for funding under the Rapid Housing Initiative. I've been writing letters, speaking to ministers whenever I have the opportunity, including the parliamentary secretary tonight. I really appreciate him taking time to talk to me about an application that's going in that I won't get into the details of, but the importance of that.
Unfortunately, the honourable member's time